Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. It's Tuesday, January 22nd, 2013. I'm David Knight, and here are our top stories.
Tonight, a shocking claim from one of America's foremost military heroes, who says Obama is asking military leaders if they will fire on U.S. citizens. Then, welcome to the police state. A Miami man is viciously attacked by security guards after being told it is illegal to photograph the rail portion of the train. Meanwhile, back at the inauguration, TSA agents grope attendees, and Beyonce lip syncs the national anthem. All hail Obama on the InfoWars Nightly News.
We have breaking news about a shooting in a nearby college just north of Houston. The details are not clear yet, but what's most interesting is the way that it's being covered by the media. Alex has some information about that.
He said, I don't want to fight you. I'm not trying to go to jail. And he actually turned away from the situation. But whatever ticked him off, whatever they said, turned around, got it out of his backpack, and just started shooting.
As of airtime, 3 people were shot earlier today at the Lone Star College in Houston, Texas. And early on, I said it's either going to be another serotonin reuptake inhibitor Prozac head who's into mass shooting, games, and death that's done this. If it's a really big shooting, and I said, God forbid, or it'll be 2 gangbanger types shooting at each other, gang-related, which most, quote, mass shootings are. In fact, most crime is different criminals shooting at each other. And sure enough, 1 shooter is still on the run. One of the 3 shot is one of the reported shooters who were shooting at each other. And then 2 students were hit in the crossfire. And the eyewitnesses are out there. So, number 1, this is a tragedy. But number 2, thank God it wasn't a real mass shooting with 25, 30 people killed, including little children. Doesn't matter if statistically you've got a better chance of being struck by lightning, according to the FBI's own crime numbers, than dying in a mass shooting. Doesn't matter if your swimming pool is many, many, many times more deadly than guns, period. The media, the corporate media, is able to evoke all these fears. And they've set it up where every time there's a new shooting, it's gun owners' fault. It'd be like every time there's a stabbing, it's knife owners' fault. You know, you own that block of butcher knives, and somebody got stabbed in Albuquerque today, 1,000 miles away, it's your fault. This is the ridiculous mindset they've put out, while the establishment arms itself to the teeth and is protected on their red carpets by armed men. So there's this major move to disarm us. But the reason I wanted to file this report tonight on the Nightly News is because I saw something unprecedented today. During breaks on the radio, we were also playing clips of local news on air. We saw reports where CNN and other corporate media, cable channels, were saying, we're not going to show you the live helicopter feeds out of KHOU in Houston in case you see something, violent and see something bad, to protect you.
The North Harris campus is on lockdown. This is an active situation. We are not showing you live pictures because of what we may possibly see. As a result, we are showing you delayed tape pictures.
Now, even in Vietnam, they would show the film reels, and it wasn't even live, of children running naked down the dirt road with their skin burned off, because it's documentary. You have a right to see what the government's doing. Bush started not allowing coffins to be photographed coming into Dover, Maine, and other bases from the Iraq War. Now the media doesn't even go show them when they come in, so there's no need for Obama to ban it. So this self-censorship by CNN, so that they could later craft the most scary parts after the shooting and put them out, is disgusting. And I knew they'd do that. I talked about that on radio. As soon as it came out that it was some type of crime-related deal and that one of the 3 shot was one of the reported shooters, alleged shooters, they shifted into acting like they were live again, showing people running in fear and showing SWAT teams going into the buildings. So truly unprecedented that they're still hyping it and the danger of guns right now. when it is a tragic event, but still on the Richter scale, on a scale of 1 to 10, it doesn't even register as a 0.11,000th on the 1. You're like, ah, that's pretty mean, Alex. 3 people were shot. Look, folks, governments killed 200+ million people, non-military deaths. That's government lining up men, women, and children and shooting them and stuff under democide. Major university studies, University of Hawaii, you name it. They're the biggest threat. As Stalin said, 1 man is a tragedy, 1 million is a statistic. He also said 1 man's a tragedy, 10,000 is a statistic. They know this. They understand this. And so they take these events and hype up the fear. The truth is, gun violence is way down. Violent crime is way down from the FBI's own statistics. Some numbers are up to 49%. Overall crime using guns is down. 20-something% the last few decades, overall violent crime. I mean, the numbers are amazing. They don't want you to know the facts. They want you to have an emotional response. But that clip we just played of CNN over and over again, we are not going to show you this in case you see something bad. We're going to protect you. You've got to trust us so we can later show you what we want you to see. Same thing with Sandy Hook. They didn't want you seeing local news feeds because they don't want you questioning what's happening. They want to be able to spin the official narrative they want. And this is directly out of 1984. All right, that's it for this basic breakdown. We'll cover more of this on the radio, 11 a.m. Central tomorrow, when we know a lot more. But back to InfoWars Nightly News and your host, David Knight.
Well, this is an interesting case for me to see how this is unfolding live, to see how the media is manipulating the story. I was also surprised at the amount of time that they spent on this story. Is it really worth several hours that just a couple of people have an argument and a couple of people get shot? I mean, it's a tragedy, but if this was 3 or 4 people taken to a hospital because it was an automobile accident, would that be that newsworthy as a national story? Would it be something that the news media would then call for everyone who has an automobile to come under greater scrutiny and to have their cars taken away from them because somebody had an automobile accident? But that's essentially what's being done with gun owners. And there's some shocking news about what is being done in the military. And this comes from a credible source. A Nobel Peace Prize nominee says that Obama asks military leaders if they will fire on U.S. citizens. This is a shock claim that is purported to come from one of America's foremost military heroes. Now, the person who makes this claim is somebody that has a great deal of credibility, in my opinion. This is someone who was a 2009 Nobel Peace Prize nominee, Jim Garrow. Dr. Garrow is someone who actually created an organization called the Pink Pagoda Girls. Now, if you think back to 2009, Obama won the Peace Prize, even though he had not done anything at the time. He had just assumed office. All he had done is win the presidential election. Nothing that is worthy of a peace prize. And we've seen in the ensuing years that he's created war after war. He's assassinating people with drones, creating kill lists, calling for indefinite detention without trial. This is the person that they gave a peace prize to before he did anything. But Dr. Garrow at the time had a very long record of intervening and saving girls in China who were exposed to gendercide. As part of their one-child policy, female children are not as wanted as male children. And my wife and I adopted a child from China, so we know a great deal about this. And this person, Dr. Garrow, saved 36,000 young girls at least. Now, he has a source that told him that, he says, I've just been informed by a former senior military leader that Obama is using a new litmus test in determining who will stay and who will go among his military leaders. Get ready to explode, folks. He says the new litmus test of leadership in the military is if they will fire on U.S. citizens or not. One of America's foremost military heroes, he said, whose goal in divulging the information was to sound the alarm. You know, we've seen this before. We've seen civil disturbance operations. The article references that. It's got links to the PDF so you can see the evidence for yourself. We've had internment and resettlement operations, also links within the article. We know that the government has been stockpiling billions of hollow point bullets. Those are anti-personnel bullets. Those are bullets that are not used by the military. They're used against people. They're used by governments for crowd control. They're banned by Geneva Convention for military use. And it's, of course, not the military that's buying these bullets. And these bullets in that quantity are much greater than what we've seen the military typically go through in several years of an actual war. And last week, we saw a New York mayor say that with these new gun regulations, he would not be surprised to see many more Wacos happening. And so I guess the government is preparing for that as well. Now we have gun owners are not standing still, though. Throughout this weekend, we had state capitals across the country. Hundreds and thousands of people showed up at state capitals to rally in defense and in support of the Second Amendment, to make it clear that the government should not cross that line. And we have a report from our reporter, Dan Badandi, about what happened in Rhode Island.
This is Dan Badandi reporting for the InfoWars Nightly News, and we are in Providence, Rhode Island at the National Pro-Second Amendment Rally, one of many cities that is protesting the government to try to take our arms. And we got over 300 supporters out here in the brisk cold to support the Second Amendment. If the orders come, the day comes, it says when it becomes law, you have to turn in your guns. Are you turning in your guns?
No.
I know it's a bit cold out here, everybody's freezing, and it's crazy, but 300 people that showed up here. Are you surprised the turnout?
I'm very glad that people understood that they had more important things to do than watching football today. We kind of know about history and we know where we stand.
I have a feeling that we're going to see a much bigger turnout. This is the spark that we needed. So come February 8th, I think you're going to see some real excitement, some really, really good excitement. People, the gun owners coming out to stand up for each other and stand up for our rights.
Because without the guns, the next step will be they come to your house, and if you don't agree with the government, guarantee you, oh, let's go into a train and let's go to a FEMA camp.
If an unlawful order is given, it is your duty as a sworn representative of that Constitution to stand down and not obey an unlawful order.
Our Second Amendment is under a threat, and people are standing up. We got politicians now standing up. We got Oath Keepers standing up. We got all kinds of patriotic groups standing up to say, you know what, you're not taking our guns. Government, leave us alone. United Nations, leave us alone. We're going to keep our guns no matter what, and that's it. This is Dan Badandi reporting for the InfoWars Nightly News.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.